Oh, let's see. Give it a minute to, what do they call it? Populate. Oh, I gotta stand up. See if we get any viewers popping in randomly. Yeah. Trying to do something over here. Leave this camera. It might show too much in the foreground. I wonder if I have chat. Sometimes I mess this shit up. I think it's funny as hell. They just put a new statue in Times Square. And I looked at it and I was like, look at this. And it's from somebody from a foreign country. They're so proud of our black ladies over here. You know, the ones that tear up the Popeyes chicken. I saw that statue and all I could think of was the videos that I watched, man, on the police cams. And some dumb ghetto ratchet idiot is tearing up the front end of a fast food restaurant. You know, it's not bad enough that the woman's built like she shouldn't be eating fast food to begin with. But they get so mad, it's like a drug. It's like a drug that, like, I saw that statue and I'm like, damn, look at her. She's mad as hell. They gave her a stale biscuit at Popeyes. They gave that bitch a stale biscuit. And you know what? Anybody that even eats that shit from Popeyes knows all they sell are stale biscuits. I mean, their biscuit is only soft for about probably 3 seconds once it's cooked. They grab it. By the time they put it into anything, that thing is like a hockey puck. You literally could use a Popeye's chicken as a hockey puck. I was using it to test my dentures. I didn't need dentures. I wanted to see if my teeth were gonna break when I bit that son of a bitch. But when I saw that statue, that's all I saw. I saw there's that Popeye's chicken bitch. That's that McDonald's chick. That's that chick that got mad. That's when you got that principal that felt that the cops had disrespected her when they were at her school. So they had an emergency, and that's her right there in that statue. The indignant, unaccountable, stupid bitch. And now it's in bronze. And what's crazy is that someone in a foreign country looks up to that behavior. And I put a post on the page, you know, with a little funny little excerpt on the top of it. It's funny to me. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't think that's funny, and I don't even give a fuck. You know what I mean? If you think it's funny or not, that means you're funny, motherfucker. To me. And that's all right, because there's people that think I'm funny too, and that's fine. I'm a funny looking son of a bitch. Mom, forgive me for that, but you know the truth. I'm only speaking the truth. Kathy Bates was in a movie, you know, some years back, and I don't want to date myself, but in that movie, this one old rich bitch told her, you know, she said, you know, sometimes as a woman, all you have to fall back on in life is being a straight up bitch. And a lot of you women out there, you take that as your first resort. I saw that statue and I'm like, there's that bitch. There she is. There she is. Motherfucker, where's my hot sauce? Motherfucker, where's my refund? Walking into the store, they bring in the box, right? They want a refund and they ate all the chicken. And all they got left is a half-eaten stale ass biscuit, and they say, look, I want a refund. This biscuit almost broke my teeth. And they're looking in there, they're going, well, it's a good thing you ate the biscuit last, you fat bitch. Because you done ate all the chicken. You know, what the fuck? We gave you them stale ass biscuits because we hoped that the first thing you bit into, like most people do, you get the bread at the beginning of the meal. Them dumb motherfuckers, I ain't giving you bread at the beginning of the meal. I'm trying to make money off of you. You be waiting for the bread and your entrees will be getting there. That way you're so bloodthirsty son of a bitch. I want you spending all your money. You're getting a whole bunch of free bread. Yeah, but they weren't waiting for you to eat the biscuit first, break your teeth, and then bring back the chicken and say, I can't eat this chicken because I ain't got any teeth. But these motherfuckers will eat all the food and then come back in and demand a refund. They just had a video came out 2 weeks ago. These two dumb black bitches went up, they were trying to ditch it. They got mad as hell. They tore up the bar. They took the waitress's phone and stuck it in a jug of what looked like dirty water. It's like, yo, listen, that bar should be shut down first off. To get on to the other side point, that water wasn't for drinking, and it was in a pitcher that you poured drinking materials out of, and it was on a countertop. I want that explained to me. We already know them girls beat the shit out of that woman, busted the whole place up, but they put a statue up in Times Square dedicated to them. So I wanted to do a quick video. I'm busy right now. You know, I'm over here working, man. I don't have time to go out there. If I was getting paid, I would carve a statue too. It will piss a whole lot of motherfuckers off. Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry I didn't say hi, Selena. You know, I hope I don't make you mad, because that statue is not for the good everyday people. It's not for the, you know, and that's the whole thing. Right now, in our country, we got a problem. In every single group of us have problems going on within our little segments of society, right? Because we got black culture is what they look at. Black culture. Look, we're not allowed to talk about what's wrong with black culture. Nobody, like, if you listen to these people that need the most help, they don't want your motherfucking help. They don't want anybody's motherfucking help. As a matter of fact, they don't listen to not a motherfucker. No one. They don't even listen to the police. They use the worst way to talk about each other on a daily basis. They use the N-word. Shit, I don't want to delete this video, or I would just say it, because I don't give a fuck. If you come around here talking that shit, I never even use that word in regular everyday life. But you can't use that word as a part of your culture and run around calling each other all kinds of names. And then all of a sudden, every time something goes down, you want to lay hands on somebody because they're a different color and you feel some kind of way. And then I got to hear about the crying white women. They call them the Karens and this, that, and the other. But they just put a statue up for the most ratchet, cryingest, grievingest, excuse-making motherfuckers I ever seen in my whole goddamn life. And I don't care, man. You can say whatever you want, because I grew up in the hood, and you had kids that had a mom and a dad, and you had kids that only had a mom, and they all knew how to act back then. You didn't have no mothers and fathers coming out making excuses for their fucking kids. You didn't have none of this shit that you see that's going on nowadays. You got this, you're not even parents. I'm watching these motherfuckers walk around with their kids because they're doing drugs with their kids. They're fucking, you know why that dad got mad? Because his son, who helps him make money, he's raising him to be a criminal. His son's running. You know what, man? Anybody with any brains, if you got a gun and it's a legal gun and you're in a car and everybody ditches that car, only a dumb motherfucker is going to take the gun with them, because first off, if you ain't never been arrested, there ain't no prints on that shit. See, I grew up in the hood, man. I'm going to tell you right now, wipe, drop, run. You ain't catching me. If you do catch me, I ain't got shit. What are you talking about? Where was I sitting in that car? We found a gun. It was on the seat. What, left, right? Where was I? Oh, you don't know? No, you don't fucking know. But if you're that guy that plans on shooting somebody, you're gonna grab it because you know what? You could replace that gun just as easy as you got the first one. How the hell else can a kid that's just 18 years old be running around with an extended magazine and it probably had a switch on the fucking back? But they're gonna put a fucking statue up for the kind of bitches that raise a kid like that. Yeah. A blight on society, and we can't do shit about it. The only ones that can fix it are the ones in the community that get stigmatized. It's just like, you know what? Cops. Not all cops are bad, but people, there's a lot of you fucking weak-willed, unintelligent people that look at cops and judge all cops. Like that kid's dad that ran some random dude, and he wasn't even a cop. He was a retired sheriff, and he was doing crossing guard duty. So how you go from the one to the other, the only way you can skip the fact that father was a fucking homicidal maniac and killed an innocent person who didn't even look like a fucking sheriff, who was an old man trying to help little kids cross the street. And that's the whole point. So now, no one's talking about the fact he ran that man over who was serving as a crossing guard, which means it was during school hours and kids were walking back and forth across that street. They don't put crossing guards out for you and me. They don't give a shit if your dumb ass walks across the street and gets run the fuck over. Wrap your head around that. So now there's a sheriff, he's dead, he runs some innocent motherfucker over, and there's people out there that think he's a fucking hero. How do you fix that? You don't. The only ones that can fix that, they're in that community. The only ones that can fix the bad apple cops are the other cops in the community. But they don't, right? They go, hey, you know what, man? I can't get involved in that shit because it's going to make us all look bad. You look in the black community, you got good people. They're raising their families, but they have to live in a community where they got to be afraid to even tell the police anything because, well, like they do up in Philly and other places, they will nail your fucking windows and doors shut and then set your house on fire if they find out that you snitched. So you have the community with a whole bunch of little gangsters running around with guns, stealing cars. Why are you stealing the car? Oh, well, they didn't have anything to do. They couldn't find a basketball court. Or, they didn't go play baseball. Instead, they stole somebody's car. Fucking, I'm talking retarded for you retards. They can't put that shit together. You fucking idiots. But they put a statue up, right? Because here's the deal. The reason we have problems with all these kids and these adults that are raising them is because they have low self-esteem. That's why they pound on their chest like gorillas and say, I'm the best, I'm the biggest, I'm the smartest, we're the most superior. The ones that can't accomplish a goddamn thing claim to be the most superior species on the planet, when there's only one species that's called humans. There's no such thing as race. There's only the human race. Everybody's caught up in some bullshit. Because you got multi-personality disorder. You're all split the fuck up. You want to be separate. You want to be like a Star Trek episode. You got half the planet. They're black on the left side of their fucking body and white on the right. And the other half is the opposite. And they hate each other and they're exactly the fucking same. They're their mirror image. And so we watch as all these fucking kids in every single segment of society. Just in the black culture, it stands out because you're less than 13% and you're accountable for over 80% of all violent crime. Think about that per capita. They always talk about how white people outnumber black people in welfare. There's a lot more white people on welfare. No shit, it's called per capita. Well, if that was to hold true with murder and fucking all the other bestial fucking behaviors, why is it that white people represent the least in that statistic? Huh? See, if you actually did some science, but you ain't got no brains because you're raised by a stupid bitch like that one that they put a bronze statue up for because she was a proud, defiant dumbass who tore up a Popeye's chicken because they got her order wrong. They forgot to give her hot sauce and her honey. And she ate all the food and now she wants back her money and she ain't going to leave until they give it to her. And she's going to talk to the manager. And then when you get the manager, no, I want the higher manager. They're so fucking stupid, it's crazy. Yeah, I want the sergeant. Ma'am, I am the sergeant. Well, I need the lieutenant. We don't have a lieutenant. We only have me, the sergeant. Well, I want the sergeant of the sergeants. It doesn't exist. Just like this shit don't make sense. It doesn't. And I don't know, maybe some of y'all motherfuckers need to get over here in the paint booth. Start huffing on some of these chemicals. It might open up your fucking neural synapses. Your brain might start firing all of the fucking chambers. Half y'all motherfuckers if your brain actually started working, you get whiplash. Because you would realize that you suddenly, when your brain kicked in, you would realize you've been walking around with your head shoved all the way up your ass. Yeah, if we could get all of you fucking people out there who have their heads up their ass to pull their heads out at the same time, there would be a fucking sonic boom. It would probably, the tectonic pressure would freaking make the planet disintegrate. So we have to actually bring you brain dead morons on a handful at a time. That's it. And hope that by the time we get to that last grip of dumb clips, that we can get you to the right place before you make us have to blow the whole planet up. Because that's what's going to happen. These people are out here and everything's about race to people who are racists. And there's only one race, the human race. When people are out there doing the most, they look for an excuse to rationalize their behavior. So, hey, I don't have to obey the law. That's a white man's law. They wrote that shit before we were emancipated. And then the one law that we gave y'all motherfuckers, the 14th Amendment, you're like, fuck this country, man. I don't like white people. So let anybody across the border and let them have kids and make them citizens and everything else when that law was only for you. But do you argue for it? No, because you don't give a fuck. You don't like this country. You don't like nothing about it, nor the people that you're surrounded by. And don't get it wrong. You're fucking surrounded. It doesn't matter how many motherfucking TV shows they put out catering to that black audience. You're only less than 13% of the active population in this country. You don't fucking lay a threat to anybody that's trained and knowledgeable. Unless you swarm on us like a pack of hyenas when we're not looking. But I'm always looking. And I don't distrust people because of the color of their skin. But I know what's up. I can see the intent in the way that people move, man. But most people can't because this country has been pussified. You cater to these motherfuckers that can't even fight. Back in the day, you might have got a knuckle sandwich. Nowadays, these motherfuckers can't fight. So when they show up and they get caught trying to steal something, they wait till you got your back is turned on them, and then they stab you. You know, when you shove them and you got your knuckles up ready to fight, they act like they don't want to fight. And then when you turn to walk away, they try to sneak the shit out of you because they're weak-ass little crack babies. Look at the ones, look at what's going on down in Fulton. Nobody can help those people but those people. And what do? They elect crack babies. They're like, well, they're less of a crack baby than I am because they got a degree from Howard University. Howard University is graduating crack babies. If I was a Howard University alumni, if I was a person that worked at Howard University, I would be ashamed that someone like Letitia James, in her ghetto ass, the way she carries herself, would get the fuck up there after all the crimes that she's committed, and she is painfully, woefully guilty. You don't have to make up 33 fake accounts off of one incident. I got people come in my shit with their dumbass comments like, you are a 33 convicted felon. Motherfucker, if your mother sucking dick was a felony, she would have got life in prison 45 years ago. The only reason you survived is because she had strep throat that night and got poked by accident. Come in here with that dumb shit. And I put a post out the other day. Listen, there was a law that was enacted back in, I think it was the 50s, right? Because there was a lot of funky shit going on in the 50s for you uneducated, fucking unintelligent, brain dead sheep. And they put a law out that restricted the federal government because just like they tried to get the Bible out of schools, they had this shit. They were like, listen, we don't want the federal government indoctrinating our children through the media. This is no bullshit. So they passed a bill. And that bill restricted the federal government from in any way, shape, or form promoting anything. They could give grants to like PBS because it was for educational purposes and shit like that. But they were not allowed because of a law that was passed to utilize the media to engage the public and skew the way that we think. They weren't allowed to propagandize the news. And so when the Democrats had control of the House and the Senate, did they give the Dreamers citizenship? No, they didn't do a goddamn thing for anybody. They've made an entire new health system that enriched all of their friends. It put out a fucking business, companies that were actually reputable insurance companies. They turned the insurance all the way upside down. But one of the other things that they did was they repealed the law that stopped them from using the media. And why did they do that? Because they fucking were using the media and they wanted to be able to do it legally because they'd already been doing it illegally. And so somebody came up and they came out from the CIA and said, this is what we got to do. And so what did they do? Well, when they had all that power and they could do something for America, instead of fucking us, right, passing bills they didn't even read, like you got to pass it before you can read it. It's the most brain dead moronic shit. And anybody that voted Democrat after that, only to listen, I don't give a fuck if you're a goddamn world-class physicist. If you voted Democrat, fucking voted in before you can read it, and then for Democrats after that, what you think you're intelligent? You're a fucking idiot. Basically what you were saying is that in my opinion, which is derived from people like that who lie to me daily. Think about this. So you're an intelligent person and you don't understand that if they're lying to you, you can't trust their shit. So if all of a sudden you're going to say to me, I chose them because it was the lesser of two evils, when I look at the Republicans, they don't care about anyone. Why? Because they're not up in your shit lying to you? That they just do shit behind your back and they're sneaky about it? The Democrats, the Democrats are sociopaths. They're psychotic. See, what they like to do is they like to be grabbing you by your fucking dick and then saying, yo, that's not me, that's Trump. That's not me, that's somebody else. They're stealing your money. When your money's gone, they say, oh, that's because the other side doesn't know what they're doing. And we need that. And yet, when they have an opportunity to give you any type of tax refund, discounts, or anything like that, they fight tooth and nail because they have set up grabs so inherently in our system that when Doge came out, they marshaled the system to cover its own ass because when you have politicians unwilling to give their citizens a tax break and they act like the money is theirs and they talk about it as if it's theirs and not ours. You need to be able to put that shit into real perspective. I shouldn't be over here, and I'm not a Republican, Democrat. I'm an American. I'm a middle of the road type guy, and my middle of the road is all the way right, bitch. You could say right wing is wrong, but the Bible says that the intelligent and the wise man is on the right and that the fool leans to the left. And here you'll find the fools. They're always, they talk and talk and talk, and nothing that they say makes any sense because they don't own dictionaries, but they all have degrees. And the people that gave them degrees give out those degrees, and they give them out, and they give out a bill that they know can never get paid because the degree that they gave out was given out, and what you get for nothing is good for nothing. But you didn't get it for nothing, right? Because the federal government now owes them money. But no, they don't owe them money. We owe the federal government money. See, because that college already got paid for the shit that you can't pay us back for, and we let them do it. And so we have all these people that are running around this country. They're dumber than fucking dog turds, but they got a degree on the wall that I could fucking produce with a decent printer. And go in and fucking make it seem like those people that supposedly have that degree and really do have it don't. Because it's ridiculous. We have a system that is set up so that people can exploit the ignorant, and they make them more ignorant so that they can exploit more people. That's why we have an entire younger population that, even though, and they think, there's an actual scientific effect where dumb people think they're smart, and the dumber that they are, the smarter that they think they are. That's why you have people like AOC, and you have this other dumbass bitch, Jasmine Crockett, coming out, right? Because see, Jasmine Crockett, she used to talk pretty articulately, but what we found out is that that was just the act she needed to play so she could get elected, look presentable, and now she's just showing she's just a full ratchet, unintelligent woman, like the one that they posted. The only difference between her and the one that they posted in Times Square is one of them is wearing fancier clothes, has longer eyelashes, and pays more for her hair. They're the same mental, they're the same intellectually, and I use the word intellectual when I describe them because that's really the word that you have to use to describe a person's mental capacity and their aptitude to make cognitive reasoning and to exercise an erudite understanding of life. And I'm using those words because that's what those words are for. Like, if you learn something, you can see that someone knows something by what they produce and how they attack things. And that's why some people are like, that guy, it's just that he knows more. He's absorbed more, and he's let his brain collate it and staple it and put it in order so that he could use it when it came necessary. People that when you don't have that shit stored up inside your brain, you're incapable of finding it later. You can't find what you don't possess. And then we got this cell phone, which you could literally get the answers to anything. And people aren't even looking for answers until they need the answer. And then they just read on it because they just read it on Google. And you got there not because you don't have the aptitude to be better, because someone didn't want you to. And that hypnotist, there's a specific intellectual capacity that is susceptible to hypnosis. The more stupid you are, the more ignorant, the less read you are. You might read, you could read a guy because you can't pay the vet bill for your fat ass fucking, you're so damn fat. Exist. And then when you saw the real men that do exist, you reject anything and live a life of so unfulfilling. Except you're full. You're so motherfucking full that you decide, because our world is so perverse and upside down and people are so goddamn evil, that you're going to make and you're just gonna, you're already fat as hell and can't walk. Monty Python's fucking flying and shit themselves, and they look for people. They look for people like me, where they can just look down on them and go, oh, look at this person, I'm so much better than them. While you're sitting there watching someone, not me particularly right now, but some fat person who's mukbanging themselves to death, and you go, I'm so much better than that person, as you watch them. It's because you're not like them. Better. I was talking about earlier. We can't do shit for them. Because people, listen, the first person you listen to is your parents. They're the ones you give the most credibility to. Even when your father is a scumbag, lifelong criminal, you will listen to his ass because that's your father. And so when you have the people that are in charge of you, and it's important what they say to you when they're programming you, where to say that you don't have to put on this system, because you have to learn accountability. It's taught from your parents. But when you have parents like that statue, a woman standing unaccountable, indignant, full refund after eating the whole meal at Pop. What fucking future do you have if you don't have a father that can count out into a Walmart and your mom gets busted for shoplifting? And you wonder, these people that push you to the better alternative choices. And so we have the first clue that you're a fucking asshole is when you're comparing yourself to someone else and saying, I'm better than that person. For whatever reason. It could be because you have a nice car and they're on the side of the street with a sign that says, who's not even in the race with you. How do you get, you're patting yourself on the back for an accomplishment. We see plenty of people going to church, but when the pastors are like that pastor that those young case, because why? Because of his own inadequacy, he's not a pastor. Case, because why? Because of his own inadequacy, he's not a pastor. The guy is hateful. See, the guy is hateful. See, that's Proverbs, because under Proverbs, that's Proverbs, because under Proverbs, that's have to worry about us looking at what they're doing, and that's been what they've been doing. And have to worry about us looking at what they're doing, and that's been what they've been doing. And it's been going on for a long time, but it's been hyped up in the past 20 years. And it's been going on for a long time, but it's been hyped up in the past 20 years. Ethnicity or any of that. Any of that. Many people end up on the right side of an argument. You're actually put up on a. I'm sick of this. Okay, wanted Donald Trump to win for one specific reason, because they wanted all the people that they don't. For one specific reason, because they wanted all the people that they don't like out of this country. And why they don't like them? It isn't because they're illegals. It's because of the real reality of it is they contend for the same jobs. And what's be good for me, if it will help my neighbor, asking me for shit for property one anymore, they just get rid of all the agriculture, and if there's any type of beef or cattle getting grown there, they stop doing that too, so that our country suffers. And the families that would have inherited those properties, they have nothing. They end up having to sell them to these bidders, man, so that they can just get something for their inheritance. And these companies come in and scoop up these places for nothing, close to what the inheritance tax is. And it's not right. And that's the society we're living in. And so the more ignorant that they have people, and the more that we're trying to fight each other in the street, the less attention that you're giving, the proper attention that should be given. As adults, we should be acting as adults. When you become a man, you're supposed to put childish behavior behind you. If they've got you fighting in the sandbox, I don't think that the childish behavior is behind us. When you've got a whole, it's at the very that they should be aggrieved of. Africa, you're going to send them back to Africa. The best thing that ever happened to them is when they were sold. Yeah, people, you know what? Black people in Africa sold black people to don't like American blacks because they're the ones that didn't get anytime they could. One tribe would capture another bidders for chump change in reality. But a lot of these tribes became very wealthy. Ancestors didn't run fast, would rather die than become some other man's tool. That's how they look at you. They don't put it into perspective. And then we have those people in our own country that want to ride this idea, right? That this unreality, right? You. They don't charge the one who sold the drugs, buying the selling them, live in a prosperous country. You could be with them. See, they're filled with gold that you're in. That they were filled with gold that you're in. That they were eventually colonized. Because why? Because they said these people they need to be. Said these people they need to be. They're a blight on our society. They're a blight on our society. Continue to exploit their neighbors. They taking us for reparations, but you'll never get us for reparations, but you'll never get it. Get it. Over there and talk over there and talk to the 3,000 black, like over 11 the rebels during the civil. They don't even want you to read the books that have the history in them. They want to tear down the statues of those generals because they got dicks and shit. They don't know how to act like a man because their mom don't know what a man is. She's been reading about men in Harlequin romance. And last time I checked, all those men had like long hair. You can't have hair like that and work this damn router I got. Shit, you know what? If you look, I got a little flat spot right in the middle of my beard right here because the router sucks the hair down in, and I can smell it when the armature is spinning and the sparks are going. I can smell the hair burning because it's just not cool. It's just like when I wear my coveralls. The ones that I get from Carhartt, they're horrible because that clasp they give you now, literally, when you sit down and you get up, it'll pinch your hair and pull your beard hair. So you got to be a real man to wear a beard and wear them Carhartts. I wear it, but I try not to snag my beard. And I'm thinking about making a little elastic slip cover. Just stitching up a little piece of elastic, put one little seam on it, boom, slide it on the end. When I clasp it, slide it down over the clasp. Easy solution. Why? Because I have a brain. I apply images. Like a lot of people will watch videos, they go, oh, that's so interesting. What do they call it? ASMR. You're relaxing your brain, watching someone do something, don't even never remember how they did it, don't know shit about it. When there are other videos that you could be the one making an ASMR video for someone else because you know how to take care of shit. Because you know how to adapt to problems. You know how to problem solve. You know, when you can problem solve, you don't do dumb shit. You don't ditch a car with a gun in your hand. You got a cop yelling, drop the gun, and you're running. See, there's people out there right now that they're talking all this shit, but the reality of it is, gun in hand, back to cop, I don't give a shit. He's got a gun, and he's telling them, drop the gun. And there's a certain point that you have to, like, when I was in the Marine Corps, right, they call it deadly force. And a lot of people don't realize, in the Marine Corps, they're pretty touchy about deadly force. Because that's our job, right? We're trained to kill, but not just whenever we want, indiscriminately. And even when you're on guard duty, the only time you really can justify deadly force is when there's an inherent danger to other people being harmed. And so when you're out there, I'm telling you straight up, I want the cops to shoot people who run up and down the street with illegal firearms, who just jumped out of stolen vehicles. I don't care what color they are. That's why you don't hear white people complain complaining when their sons do stupid shit and get shot. And it happens a lot more than it happens to black kids. Sometimes the kids ain't even doing nothing. They just arguing. And then they get shot. And you never hear nothing about it because their parents are like, well, you shouldn't have been arguing. Because that's the truth. You know, you shouldn't be getting shot over arguing, but there's certain circumstances where people just, I watched a cop walk up to a kid who was built like a string bean, but because his friends were there, he was like, why don't you take off that badge and see how it goes? Next thing you know, this kid is on his fucking ground with his face in the concrete because he actually stepped up, crossing his arms in front of a cop. I'd have done this, I would have did it a lot sooner than that guy did it. I'd have did a waist tuck on that boy, and I wouldn't have even took him to the ground soft neither, if you know what a waist tuck is. Because a lot of people, they like to get right up in your face. And they're like in your face, like if they're in your face like that, like first off, dude, you don't want the headbutt shit going on because you're right there, bridge of your nose, and it's only, have you ever been headbutted by accident? They don't even try to do it hard, and it almost puts you out. See, there's so much centrifugal force with just that movement, and you got a head that weighs like 8, 10, 12 pounds, whatever. Some of you brainless motherfuckers don't shake your head at them because it'll be like shaking a maraca. And they don't even use them in any of that music up in America anymore. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, they should be playing maraca music as they deport them Mexicans. No, I'm just playing. Listen, you got to go. You broke the law. That's the way it is. You get away with shit until you don't get away with it anymore. That law is there for a reason. And so there's a lot of people who are like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. To me, it's more inhumane to let motherfuckers be running around with no papers or nothing because you are never, here's the deal. Have you ever, like when you were younger, have you ever had a car that your paperwork was bad on because you really couldn't pay the insurance? Back in the day, you know, you would get your registration and then your insurance could lapse and they would never even know it. You would be riding around, renew your registration with the old insurance number. They never would check that shit back in the day. But the persons who did that, you're driving around and you're never free. You don't want to drive at certain times. You don't want to be out there. You don't want to take a chance of getting stopped. So you basically become a prisoner to your circumstance. Can you understand where I'm coming from? So for me, allowing illegals to live here, have jobs, like here, I'm going to show you something, man. You see that black Chevy over there? I'm telling you right now, the Mexican guys got deported. They parked that thing right when I'm telling you, within the first couple of days that they were putting it on the news. They ain't been back for that truck ever since. And I'm a working man, and I know what it means for Mexican guys especially to work and get the money up and buy a decent used truck. Now, that's an older truck. That's probably like a 94 maybe. But for them, it's like anything. It's like new to them, and they're gone. And to me, it's cruel to allow people to live in your country and try to wrap themselves with possessions that they could lose at any minute. And when you think about it, and it's back to one of the things with the whole idea of rewarding illegal activity, okay? And so, like, the people that could have changed the regulation tool, if they gave them citizenship, they couldn't hold it over their head the next time they needed them to give them a few 100,000 fake votes. Because we know now, anybody with any sense knew that when you incorporate voters registration with driver's licenses, and then so it's automatic, and then you also say that you're going to let illegals have excuses. Black people have no problem getting IDs. They have no problem. And if you were born in America, you'll have no point ID, any of that. But we still have to do it. You don't hear me crying. And we wouldn't have to do this stupid shit if they'd have been doing their job to begin with. We wouldn't have to worry about why are we funding the education system across the country when it's failing. When the more money we throw at it, the money that goes up doesn't even match the quotient of the quality going down. The quality is going down, right, at a rate that doesn't match. And it's unsustainable. Why are we rewarding people that are failures? Everybody wants to pat teachers on the back, but if you can't class, require you to meet a minimum standard. If you're not meeting a minimum standard, you don't deserve the job, let alone a raise. And they're always crying they don't make enough. Well, how come as all the teachers' pays went up, the school supplies went down? So kids don't even have art supplies. They can't even go into home ec classes anymore because they can't buy the raw materials it takes to teach how to make cookies and shit like that. Like they used to teach us basic kitchen skills in school. That money's gone and they want more money, but are they instituting these programs? No, they just keep putting it in their pockets so that you go there, they say they have no money, but they're driving Mercedes Benzes and BMWs and they go, well, I'm a teacher, I deserve it. No, if the kids come out of your class and they can't read, bitch, you should be fucking riding in a goddamn stagecoach. Yeah, you're all down the bumpiest fucking dirt roads on pincushions. And yet we sit here and we want to elevate them because we need them to teach our kids. And yet they're teaching our kids shit that our kids don't need to learn. They're sexualizing children that are prepubescent. They don't even have the chemical activity in their brains or their organs in order to formulate a sexual nature. The only reason little kids are sexualized is by adults. And that's what they're doing by promoting that stuff. You don't have to be a Bible thumper to because we tear down statues of heroes, tearing down Thomas Jefferson's. They literally